Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Funhaus. This is part 2 of our perfect horror film bracket tournament featuring a whole swath of amazing horror aficionado, fan, panelists, judges, whatever you want to call them. First up, we have Elise Willems.
Hey, James. I'm so scared to be here. And introduce Dan.
And Dan Schneider.
Hey, I'm here, everybody.
Nice monster shirt. Dan has a monster shirt.
Cool.
If you have any doubt about him being a monster man, he didn't make the list. That, of course, Black Lagoon did not make the list.
For Ryan's cool shirt.
And now, Ryan, what are you dressed as?
Look, I did look and search for my Black Lodge shirt. I have this cool bloody Black Lodge shirt, but then I got cold in the middle of looking for that, and I realized I needed a hoodie. So I just have this boring old Memphis shirt, sweatshirt on. But I am ready. I'm still an aficionado of horror, despite my lack of monster shirts.
Sound a little sick there, man.
Yeah, are you getting sick?
I always
That's
sound
scary.
a little sick, but do I sound more sick than normal?
I think so.
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know. Maybe it's a virus. Because viruses are like ghosts, but in real life. Anyway, so here's the thing. We have to bust our buns because today we are going to be finishing up the perfect horror film bracket. This is part 2. So if you are just tuning in this week and you haven't tuned in before, you should go back and listen to the previous episode where we started this bracket. We introduced all the nominations. We told you how the nomination
Centipede
process
first
works.
Sequence.
Everyone got together and watched Human Centipede first sequence, and then we managed to only get through 5 of these brackets. Now we have to do a lot of them today.
We got to move.
So a lot of them new as well. So hold on to your butts, and you're gonna be ready to go with the perfect horror film bracket. Are you guys ready to jump right into this?
Ready to rock.
We kind of have to jump right
Let's
into
go.
this.
Yeah, that's a long intro.
That is a long intro. So last time, Dan, you asked for a bracket to be skipped.
Oh yeah, I needed a
believe.
little hiatus there, a little skipperooski, so I could actually.
Skipperooski.
I had never seen Reanimator, nor had I ever seen Hereditary, but I'm all caught up, so ready to vote. Right? That's
Okay, great.
If anything happens from this podcast, that's good. It's gonna be that you saw Reanimator. So even if I don't win, Dan, I'm glad I forced you to watch Reanimator.
Ryan, I watched it too.
Oh hell yeah! Oh wow, this is great.
We all watched it. I would like to add that I have seen all of the movies, kind of, on this bracket, with the exception of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which was eliminated already in the first round, so it doesn't matter. But going forward, I've seen them all, kind of.
No, so I'd actually like to thank you, Ryan. Reanimator was a movie it was on my list for years and years and years. Never really cared that much enough to go see it, but now it's done.
Mm-hmm. Well, are we to that part? Can we talk about this?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. We're going Reanimator versus Hereditary.
Yeah,
okay, Dan, what did you think about it? So it's done. Did you like it? Is it good?
It made me think that you have a type. There's very much a type of movie that is your favorite horror movie.
I don't argue against that.
It's a movie that you could make.
Okay, I agree with that. Thank you. I hope to reach the Stuart Gordon.
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
I don't know. I enjoyed Reanimator, but it's along the lines of Evil Dead and Army of Darkness for me. It's very handmade, which I think is cool, but maybe it's something I needed to see when I was like 15 years old to think was really, really cool.
You don't think stuff like that? You don't think Army of Darkness is cool now at 30? No, I mean, how old are you? 39.
36. But yeah, I don't know. Something about it was missed on me, and I think that's because of where I'm at in my life, having seen this now. I don't think it was a bad movie, but I don't know that it's it's going to be at the top of my list of things to revisit.
Okay. Dan, James and Elise, I'd love to hear your take on Reanimator. Because I love the shit out of this movie. We can save my glowing review at the end.
So I understand why it's here. I'll just put that on. I understand why it's here because it does a lot of impressive things with prosthetics. It kind of harkens back to American Werewolf in London in terms of like, oh my gosh, when people think about this movie, they think about this stuff, this stuff. And that's what makes it so crucial and so influential with horror. You can see how a movie like this went on to influence people like Peter Jackson and, and filmmakers of the like, and even some other movies that were going to be, probably Human Centipede is probably influenced by this in a lot of ways. There's a lot of influence tossed around. And I actually was maybe more interested in it than I thought I might be.
Cool.
I enjoyed it. I can't say that I was ever remotely scared at all. Nothing about this movie was scary to me.
No.
Wait a minute.
Probably because I wasn't a kid flipping channels and landing on Cinemax in like the middle of the night,
You're telling me that when the headless man takes his own head with his arms and then he shoves it in the woman's crotch on the hospital bed, that wasn't scary to you?
That doesn't scare me. That kind of stuff doesn't scare me. That's like
It's like a
torture
different
stuff.
kind of turn of the stomach, really.
It's more like I can't pull myself away from going, I feel so bad for that actress. That's any single time something like that happens in those cheesy movies. Because you've never seen her before, you'll never see her again. And she was like, well, I'll do this scene, but it's going to open up so many doors for me. And that was the absolute end of her career.
This scene. You know that.
I don't know.
Sure,
if,
I'm not going to speak for her.
If you can believe IMDb trivia, that dude got a divorce because of that scene. Whoever that villain is.
There had to
really?
be more to that story.
I don't know.
It can't just have been that.
Infallible IMDb trivia.
Okay.
Elise?
Ditto. Everything he said. Ditto.
All right. Yeah. So to me, this is classic like horror movie, and it has those what the fuck moments that I want in a horror film. When I said, I want to be horrified and surprised, and one of the elements of surprise is not knowing what's going to happen, obviously, and like that scene I described before, I had no idea that scene was going to happen in a horror movie. I'd never seen anything like that. The headless man, that kind of thing. So this is an audacious film. Stuart Gordon's a great filmmaker. To your point, Dan, when I was about my type, there are a couple of, I agree, this is in Army of Darkness are kind of similar, not really, but kind of similar, I guess, in tone. But I was really trying to go for it's not really my favorite five. It's just, I was really trying to pick from different categories of the genre. They are kind of my
You're
favorite
spreading
five.
it around.
I was spreading it around, so I tried to get the horror comedy. I tried to get the gross out. I tried to get the super fucked up with Martyrs, that we'll talk about. And so, this was kind of the classic 80s, awesome, what the fuck horror comedy.
Which I get, but for me, this is like when you get a trauma film that's actually made by someone competent.
Which is a great genre. What's wrong with trauma films and what?
I weirdly put them more in comedy than I do in horror, but I get how they fall on the line. Like, I'm not scared.
There's graphic stuff.
Well, okay, so let's talk about what it's up against, because I think that'll determine a lot of this conversation.
I will say
it's up against Hereditary.
The evil doctor, whoever that guy was really great. I thought he created a fun character. That was the last thing I'll have to say about Reanimator. But yeah, I also saw Hereditary for the first time. Thank you.
I brought it to life.
So we know Elise is a big fan of Hereditary.
Saw it twice. You wouldn't go with me the second time.
I did not want to. I did not want to go see it a second time. It was too close, and I said no, thank you.
You don't want to see that kid get decapitated again for the second time?
No, not really.
So you went twice, like back to back in like a week to go see it in a theater?
Yeah. And I thought it was so good.
What was it that made you want to go back immediately?
Just I hadn't felt scared in a while.
Okay.
And because there are a lot of horror movies that it takes a lot, I think, to get me. This was also just disturbing on a deeper level because it's not just a horror movie. It's the way that it uses horror in concert with being a family tragedy. And I think a lot of horror movies, they try to tell a story within which to base the horror. And sometimes that story can fall flat or generally feel lackluster or cheesy or canned. And in this situation, it felt like actually a really great story, and it manages to incorporate aspects of cultism into it. And Toni Collette is just like I've always loved Toni Collette since Muriel's Wedding, but she's just
phenomenal.
Always remarkable to watch.
And the kid, Peter, is that his name?
Peter,
the son. He was really good too. The acting in the movie is excellent, but it's fucking depressing. It's like not a fun movie to watch necessarily.
No.
It just makes you feel bad.
Says
get
the
weird with
person who
certain
put
movies.
Climax on this list. Are you
I was going to
shitting me?
say, we're not going to be done with
Hey.
the conversation of not having fun watching a movie.
Spreading
I think I'm the
around.
only person that feels comforted watching Melancholia. So I have weird. Some movies are weird to me, but Hereditary was one of my top 3 of 2018. That and Paddington 2 and Death of Stalin.
Wow.
To me, Ari Aster, I love the shit out of him. I think he's one of the future of horror. If I should dare say, maybe the new David Cronenberg mixed with like Shakespeare or something. But I like Midsommar way significantly more than Hereditary. I kind of didn't really get what everyone loved about Hereditary, except for a few of like the scenes where she was possessed, and obviously it has a really cool tone. I'm very impressed by it, but overall, by the end of it, I kind of thought it was not amazing. I was like, this is great, okay. But Midsommar, on the other hand, I loved. Which
Midsommar to
I
me
feel the
Talking about
reverse.
Hereditary.
feels a bit more straightforward. Like Hereditary, there's the layers
Yeah.
of Toni Collette's relationship to her mother, and then how that impacts her relationship to her kids, or her marriage, or her work with her miniatures. And the way it sets up, you think the daughter is going to kind of be this possessed character in this story,
Creepy
and then
looking.
it chops that idea.
I was saying,
clean
I was
off.
expecting the miniatures to like maybe play into it more.
yes, me too.
Well, but for me, I felt like the miniatures give it this compartmentalization of the film, but then the film is shot with the same compartmentalization. So it's almost like,
Everything's a
to me, that
tableau.
was like another lens removed. It's like, okay, this is the creator's dollhouse. Like, you don't realize how the manipulation that's happening there is how I read it. This person's controlling, they're creating scenes, but you don't realize that person, all of their scenes are being created by some sort of other entity that's beyond them.
It had been a while since I'd seen a horror movie where people had gasped and cried out in the theater during the movie, and I thought that was just like fantastic.
I will say,
Elise? Oh, sorry, go.
it was just Toni Collette's like breakdown when the daughter dies is very impressive. Like that's intense acting. And being a new father, like the death of a child thing kind of hit me different than it ever had in a movie before. Which was just kind of awful and off-putting. But she was the big takeaway for me in this movie. Other than Ari Aster, having a great control over the way it looks, the way it sounds. Like it's a very competently made movie that kind of puts across an excellent tone, kind of gives you that weird, ominous fear almost the whole time you're expecting, something horrible to happen almost in every scene. And he holds back on that constantly, which I think is really cool. I guess I had to think a lot about the end to try and figure out what happened, which I think is cool. But maybe didn't quite understand enough of what happened. And the one,
It's a problem.
It is, I think. And the one part that I thought was truly horrifying was when there were a bunch of naked people in the house. Kind of, they would like step out of the shadows and just smile at you.
Yeah.
That was the most off-putting part to me.
Yeah.
See, I think Elise said something important when she said, like, Midsommar was more straightforward and stuff, and this one was more layered. Well, I think that he, like, learned his lesson, because like you said, this movie is kind of, when you get to it at the end, a lot of people are like, I think I get it, I don't know, I think I get it. That's not a good thing to have, in my opinion, overall. I mean, obviously, a movie can be open for interpretation, but confusing is a different thing. And I think I think it's good that he uses his weird sensibilities and then tried to make a more accessible, if you want to call it, or mainstream thing with Midsommar, but then sneaks his weird fucked up stuff in it, as opposed to Hereditary, where you're at the end, you're kind of like, it's a puzzle. You're like, well, okay, I think I get what's going on. That's
I
just
never
me.
felt surprised in any way watching Midsommar.
Well,
did.
Midsummer is not on trial here, guys.
Yes,
Hereditary
You're right. I'm
is.
sorry. I keep bringing it up and comparing
but
it.
these,
It's not
I think
fair.
we can agree these are two very different films representing two very
True.
different sides of the horror spectrum.
Very much so. I think that's
I'm
cool.
glad that both of them are nominated. This is going to be a kind of a crapshoot, but I think we got to, just for the sake of time, we're going to have to vote.
Ryan's opening his wallet.
I
you
will
gonna try
pay
and buy us
people.
off?
Yeah, $5 and Reanimator vote. Come on, let's go.
Okay, so if you vote for Reanimator, Ryan will pay you $5. That's something to consider.
Okay.
Reanimator, one finger for Reanimator, 2 fingers for Hereditary. We're going to do it on 3.
Okay.
Ready?
I need the coin flip
Look,
for this
I can't even
one.
fucking look.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
I want my $5.
Wow.
All right, yeah. Oh, Dan. All right. Sorry,
Dan's
you
in
were
it for
covered
the
by a
money.
window
Dan's
on my
doing it
computer.
for the money,
All
which
right.
is kind of, again, I feel like the credibility of this list has kind of gone out the window, thinking
What do you-
about how far Pan's Labyrinth has gone.
I'll take whatever
And
I can get at this point. I
So
got to
wait,
fight for my
but-
picks.
I have to coin flip it again, which
Coin?
is now in our audience is now the official trash. Everyone hates the coin flip, right?
James.
Because they're pissed off. They don't feel the coin flip's right. So heads,
James,
Reanimator.
Rig it for me.
Tails, Hereditary. I can't do that.
Maybe we should have just gone with Rotten Tomato scores as the deciding factor.
No.
No,
Rig
like
it for me.
coin.
Coin flip,
Just-
I guess.
All right.
You can say whatever. it
Flipping.
is.
Reanimator
Yeah,
wins.
gets it.
Oh, yes. Worth every penny, baby. Yes.
Wait, you didn't do anything. Just paying Dan?
Yeah, baby, $5. I would have been out 3-1. I mean, that Reanimator's gone at that point.
wait.
Okay,
Can't let
let's
that
keep
happen.
moving.
Alright,
We
move,
gotta keep
move,
moving.
moving.
We gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
We did Alien versus The Shining, right? And Shining won.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
talked
remem-
about that.
It's not on my list of what won. I guess Shining won. I remember.
I believe
that.
The Shining won.
Okay.
So then that means we're moving on to Human Centipede versus Climax.
Hard.
Human Centipede versus
Bad
Climax. This is a wackadoo. If we thought the other one was a wacky one, we talked about Human Centipede last time, so we don't really need to dwell on that. If you want to hear more on that, check out our last podcast where we talked about Human Centipede. But Climax is a new entry here. So Climax is a film by Gaspar Noé from a couple years ago. If you haven't seen it, without spoiling too, well, fuck it, we're going to spoil the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's basically the story of a dance troupe that goes to a school in the middle of a blizzard
They're
for a couple
rehearsing.
days, and they're rehearsing, and to celebrate, they drink some sangria. Oops, turns out someone put a whole bunch of acid in the sangria,
Whoops.
and they all start tripping balls.
Me and
And
Dan
that's the
saw it
movie.
together at
Yeah.
the theater.
This was Ryan and
mine.
I's first date, so that's
That's
kind of
cute.
that's kind of why I put it on this list. Is it was a nostalgic date movie for me. But also,
I'm
I think
glad
the
that-
last
I'm glad
time
it's memorable
I
for you
walked out
too.
of a movie theater just in a daze from what I had just seen. Maybe similar to what happened with Elise at Hereditary. But after walking out of that movie, I
I was
felt
fist pumping.
I felt like my body had been beaten up or something. It was the last movie that took me on such a ride, I guess.
Now,
Yeah, go ahead.
love the fuck out of this movie. Don't get me wrong, but I think that everyone is going to be asking, the fans out there, including me, it's like, it's an amazing film. Does it deserve to go to the distance on the horror movie bracket? Is this a horror? What is the definition of a horror movie, and does Climax fit it? Dan, make your case.
Well, there was no criteria set forth when we were given, it's just like,
True.
what are some good horror movies? And while, this might not fit neatly into a lot of people's definition of a horror movie, it affected me enough, similarly to a horror movie, raising my heart rate, scaring the shit out of me, having terrifying moments, that I put it on the list.
And it's true horror.
Okay.
It could happen to anybody, right?
Exactly. And I don't
Okay.
know what it would qualify more as, suspense or something. I don't know. I thought the acid trip part
Dance.
was horrifying. Yeah.
To
So
me,
go ahead, Elise.
just to me, it fits in more of a removed subset of horror. A movie like Green Room or
I love that movie.
Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream was one I mentioned to you. Like those kind of they're very horrific and things that happen in them in a very human way. But it is to me a little bit more of a subset of horror that while I enjoyed it and I thought it was cool in a lot of ways, for me it probably isn't going to go the distance.
Well, yeah,
I
this isn't-
feel like fear is not a driving factor in this film for me. I think that it has some terror, it has some scary stuff, but scary in the same way as I don't want to get hit by a car when I'm crossing a street. Like that's how it felt. And I think at least saying like Green Room and Requiem for a Dream is like exactly right. Like this had scary stuff the same way you're scared for Michael Douglas in The Game. like sure, I don't want bad things to happen to good people, but that isn't to me the same as being horrified, being being absolutely afraid of what's going to happen next.
There's that feeling, but then this is one of those like empathy feelings where you're like, do not want to be those people doing what is happening to them. The mom with the little kid who that's trapped in the
Tito,
thing.
young Tito, little Tito.
We miss you,
that whole
Tito.
thing. It's just you're like, Yeah, is
It sucks.
127 hours? Is that a horror movie? It's
Well,
got
I was
like-
gonna say, I mean, Gaspar Noé, Irreversible is another movie that I think
Horrifying
is
movie.
horrific to watch.
Yeah.
But I would
Yeah.
never think of it as a horror movie. Also, I'll say this about Climax, is that I have gone back to rewatch the dance sequence like 30 times since watching it this weekend. So,
movie.
like... It clearly didn't leave me with like a dread. Like, oh no, like
you're revisiting
the only
it?
thing the movie really left me with was, man, those tunes are kicking and the dance move there. And I just love DJ Daddy so much. Like,
DJ Daddy rocks.
so that's how I felt about it. I think it's an incredible addition to Gaspar's already impressive filmography. I think he is kind of genius. And I was also reading how the movie was made. And he was like, I don't know. I like dance. And then he just like, he's like, let's just get to school and hang out for 16 days and see what happens. And the end result is like this thing which feels so controlled and meticulous. And he's like, I just suggested lines. I just went up to this person and I said, what do you want to talk about? And I filmed them. And then we made this movie. And I'm like, how does that work? What kind of magical filmmaking angel are you that you can come down and do that? So I think the movie is fantastic. I think it's wonderful. I don't know that I could see it going the distance. I think that maybe if it were up against something other than Human Centipede, which I think is like very similar in that it's horrifying, but it also is made as a horror movie. Like it has those dramatic tension moments and a scary villain and stuff like that.
Am I
like,
walking through a parking deck at night worried that I'm going to get snatched and put into a Human Centipede? Yes.
Yeah.
Every day of my life.
Every day. So I don't know. I don't know if anyone has anything else they
It
want to
sucks
add.
because it's like Climax is definitely a better movie. I
Yeah.
haven't seen Human Centipede, but I know that.
Right in space.
I'm ready to vote.
I think I'm ready to vote as well.
Yeah, we gotta
Dan,
move.
any
We gotta
last-
go. It's fine.
We gotta move. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're gonna vote. One finger for Human Centipede, 2 fingers for Climax.
I don't want to vote for Human Centipede.
No one ever does.
You don't have to.
I
But
can't-
sometimes you have to.
this is
That's
the
just
best
the
day of
nature
my
of this
life.
competition.
But it's going to get clobbered by The Shining anyway.
Okay. All right. please. All right. On 3. 1, 2,
Wait.
3.
Which one was Climax?
Sorry,
2?
Dan.
It's always
Sorry,
the top
man.
one.
Okay.
It's always the top one. All right. So that's 3-1. Human Centipede.
Yes,
Elise
voted
moves
for Human
forward.
Centipede.
I don't know.
Betrayal.
It's like
Betrayal.
The problem is that either is going to get clobbered by The Shining.
That's true.
That's not
Undisputed.
true.
Ryan's talking about going the distance. Neither of these films are going the distance, so.
Hey, you never know what's going to happen until any given Sunday. Have you ever seen that, Oliver Stone?
Yeah, we've seen it. It's not on the
let's
list. So,
It's a football metaphor. Okay.
again, I think Climax is great. I loved it. I
Well,
really
you're
enjoyed
welcome.
watching it.
You probably wouldn't have watched that if it wasn't on the list, right?
And I have that song on
Well,
my
it's a
playlist
movie
now.
that we've been meaning to
Supernature.
watch.
Yeah.
But we just...
But what did I describe it as? A thank you, no thank you, which is all of his movies. Where I go,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm glad that I watched that art. No, thank you, because I'm good. No, I don't need it again.
So now it's Scream versus The Exorcist.
Ooh, we're moving on to the other side.
All right.
East Coast.
This top bracket here is probably the most brutal.
This is tough. This is really going to be really, really, really tough for me.
This
but
whole bracket's hard.
this whole thing is really, it's only going to get harder. Exorcist versus Scream.
These movies are both very important to me, but I do know where I land.
Okay.
I know where I
in this.
land.
I did.
Yeah.
I
Oh, wow.
rewatched The Exorcist because it had been so long since I'd seen it. And the part that I'd forgotten about was the intro to Max von Sydow when he's in Iraq. And I want a whole Exorcist in Iraq movie. Just for anybody out there that is able to make movies, just go make an
Someone's going to
Iraq,
do it. Someone's working on it.
Iraq
almost certainly.
Exorcist movie.
I'm a William Freakin' freak, okay? I think
A William
you gotta
Freak
go.
for freaking.
Freak.
I'm a freak for freaking. All of his
Yeah.
films are great. They're all so different, and he's one of those amazing filmmakers that even in his old age, he's still kicking ass, making hardcore, messed up movies. He made an NC-17 movie when he was like in '81 with Killer Joe, Matthew
yeah.
and the McConaissance. He's awesome still. Bug is incredible as
He
a horror
did
film.
break. He did break. What's her
Linda
face?
Blair's back.
Linda Blair's back, just because he wanted her to look scared.
Well, a lot of people were getting hurt during some of the Exorcist documentaries are great.
Yeah, it was a ghost or something.
Well, it's they're like, the whole production was cursed. Also, the director said, let's snap her back.
Well, when Linda Blair was in that apparatus that was flailing her back and forth, it snapped her back. And then Ellen Burstyn, there was something she injured herself doing as well. A lot of people got hurt.
Someone got pulled. They wanted her getting pulled back really hard. So they put a rope around her waist and they just had someone yank as hard as possible.
So the real villain is Friedkin.
Production's cursed. Oh my God. It's like, no, they just didn't give a shit. He only wanted to do what was scary and did not care about the people and the safety of the people on set.
Is it a classic film, James? Answer that.
Oh, no. It's 100% a classic film.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a horror movie where there's a psycho director murdering all of his cast?
Stuntman. No.
Scream 3, actually.
The Audition.
Scream 3.
I was going to say that. What's that one? It's the documentary guy. It's the not Leslie Bruce. Never mind. Leslie Vernon. Sorry. Continue.
That's fine. Okay.
The Exorcist did so much cool stuff, from the subliminal faces hidden throughout, which I feel like movies now kind of like the whole James Wan is great with that, just kind of hiding.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that was done in a more flashing kind of way, and just also like telling a great story about a mother and daughter.
Yeah.
Against the backdrop of this.
It grounded its terror in a very real world, which just makes it scarier and more believable. Unlike say Reanimator or something where everything's over, or even Scream where everything's just over the top. The world is so grounded and kind of gritty that it makes that terror
that's the
more
movies,
scary.
baby. You can make anything in the movies, like you can make the reality's whatever you make it in the movies.
It
You're
is.
a filmmaker, Dan. Come on.
It is.
Back to the Evil Kids. I'm a huge, I think we talked about it previously. I'm a huge Evil Kid fan. What's the other Evil Kid movie that we
The
did?
Omen. We didn't have one on the list,
The
but
Omen
The
on
Omen.
here. We didn't
Anyway,
have
we talked
Orphan.
about it. Huge fan of The Visitor, I think.
Okay.
I told everyone to see. This one is okay. It's kind of slow at some
Exorcist
points.
is okay.
No, it's as an Evil Kid movie. There's not enough evil kid. There's
There
not
could
enough
be more because there's a transition into being an evil
puking.
kid, and yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
They had to cut the stairs scene or whatever where she
They cut the
spider
stair where
walks down the
she-
stairs.
They cut that. When they re-released this movie, I would have been in high school probably when they re-released it. But when they did, they put in the spider walk. It's because they had her on wires, and at the time he said that he thought it was like too scary or something. But I think
wasn't painful enough. I think is what his
but I
exact
think what
words.
actually happened was he couldn't figure out how to get the wires to not be seen, so they digitally removed them when they did the re-release.
Well, we talked about
never
Scream
seen
last time.
The 30th anniversary.
Scream also made by a master of the genre.
Wes Craven.
Scream way more self-referential and self-aware than Exorcist was.
Exorcist is one of the first horror movies that I think that toyed with like the questioning of faith as well.
Well, it was a bigger deal to question faith in a movie
Back
like
then.
this back
Yeah.
then.
Was that
It was
the
like,
50s?
This movie was fucked up back in the 60s, 70s.
70s.
So, even though like I said, I'm a freaking freak, but I am on Team Scream. I gotta say.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm a Team Scream freak.
These are both masterpieces.
These are great. I love them
Yeah.
both, and I don't think there's a wrong answer, but we have to keep moving, so we have to vote.
1973,
Okay.
by the way. That's when The Exorcist was out.
One
knew
finger
it.
for The Exorcist, 2 fingers for Scream. In 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh,
Is that two?
I just had my
an
thumb
L-shaped
out.
one. All right, so that's a tie. So we have to coin flip Exorcist and Scream.
It's really unfortunate these two are going against each other. I mean, The Exorcist, I think, is
It's
one
really
of the
unfortunate we
greatest
don't have a
films.
fifth random person laying around here.
There's a lot
These
of
coin
the-
flips are killing me.
We do. George Washington. All right. Heads, it goes to The Exorcist.
what coin?
Tails, it goes to
it's his
Scream.
digital coin. It's really Bill Gates.
Wow.
Scream.
Jesus Christ.
Scream.
Lucky today.
Holy
Lady
cow.
Luck.
Fuck you,
lucky
coin.
tonight.
Fuck you, coin. Doesn't know what he's
That's
talking about.
that's pretty sacrilegious, I
upset.
have to say.
That just like The
That
Exorcist.
The Exorcist is removed from the greatest horror film bracket.
It's an honor to be nominated.
What other thing to
is
say
what
about-
we'll tell The Exorcist as we
Times
show at the
change,
door.
all right? It's not the 73s anymore.
One last thing about The
going.
Exorcist that some of the other truly horrifying moments are when the girl's getting like all those medical tests, like more so than when she's possessed. Like they have all the, you know, the ancient technology screaming in her face and all the blood shooting out of her arteries. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think it's cool that the very clinical medical stuff is almost as scary as the demon possession stuff.
And the amazing thing too is like she gets just so horrific looking, but so much of that is things she's inflicted on herself. Which is such a good like demonic possession trajectory.
Not good enough for me to scream.
Self-mutilation with the crucifix. Yeah.
All right.
One last thing.
Okay.
Honestly,
One last thing.
I was just gonna say, James. I was just gonna say, there's some of the best effects I've ever seen. Oh my! Did you see that? We can't. How are we gonna continue now?
You can still talk. I can see your hand in your sleep. All right, we got to move on.
All right.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
No, it's totally worth it.
Did you have that in there for half an hour?
Yes.
Okay.
For our audio listeners, Ryan's hand just fell off.
Ryan had a fake hand in his sleeve for the last 30 minutes.
No, it's real.
Okay. Next up, The Thing versus Martyrs.
Wait,
I'm ready to vote.
Yes.
Which
Martyrs?
I'm ready to vote as well.
James, let's tell everyone what happened to you, James. One of the most unfortunate things in Funhaus history just happened this afternoon. What was it?
So in an effort to be the most impartial and educated judge I could be, any movies that we had on this list that I hadn't seen by the time we were... What's the matter?
Keep going.
Any movies that I had on the list by the time we recorded part one, I wanted to watch the movies I hadn't seen that had been introduced by part two.
I gotta go.
And that's
Good. Responsible.
What's happening? What's
I gotta feed this dog. This dog needs food.
Hey, your dog's going
dog
crazy too?
Benson's a martyr for
Okay.
Funhaus.
All right, Benson needs to eat, I guess. All right, and so there were a lot of movies, Climax, Reanimator. I rewatched Insidious to prepare myself for this, and of course, Martyrs was also on the list. Ryan nominated Martyrs, and I said, I'll check it out. So I did what I always do, which is I see if it's streaming somewhere, so I don't have to pay money for it, and I found out it is streaming on Hulu. So I started watching it yesterday. I was literally doing other things at the same time while I had the movie on, so that way I could know what it was about and be informed and watch it. And the whole time I was going, this isn't very good. This better get a lot better later on. Otherwise, I don't know why this is on the list. What a wasted spot. We could have had something way better here. It wasn't until I went to look up a member of the cast that I discovered there are two Martyrs.
God.
There are two. There's a
French
film.
one.
There's a French film from 2008,
The best one.
and then there's an
only one.
American remake that from 2016 or
with
2017.
9% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's what you've been watching for the last
And I
2
watched
days.
the American remake,
Okay,
and it
so
sucked.
James's vote should not count. That means we have 3 votes here for this one. For this.
No,
thing,
because
right?
hold on,
still
Dan,
vote.
have you seen Martyrs? Have you seen
no.
Martyrs?
James.
Has
Dan,
Elise
why
seen
not?
Martyrs? So at least I've seen one of the Martyrs.
Well, then I'm the
So
only
I
one
get
that
a
should vote. It's awesome, guys. This movie. Now we were talking about all the categories earlier. This is the most like one of those depraved. Like what did you call it, James? Like the no films.
The
Thank you,
the
no,
feel
thank you.
bad.
Thank you, no thank you.
Thank you, no thank you. Feel bad. Yes, it's a good film, but do I really want to watch this? This is one of those movies, and it's one of the best of those movies. And basically, the long and the short of it, I'm going to spoil the whole film, is this girl who escaped from this family who tortured her, like painfully tortured her whole childhood, and then they end up finding the same family, and at the end of the day, you find out that they are part of this secret organization that's trying to like transcend to another dimension, and they think that pain is how you do that. So they find people, they literally peel their skin off, methodically, but still keeping them alive, and then they're trying to get them to this point where they transcend to the other side because they're martyrs and they're in so much pain. So it's the ultimate torture porn movie, Elise. In the
Why do you say that?
Yeah, why did you direct that?
Because Elise is all about the torture porn as a bad thing, but I say that this is actually about torturing some people. So it's like, in this case, it's okay that there's so much torturing.
That influenced my vote.
Awesome.
She didn't say
all
which way. She
Dan,
didn't
now I
say
gotta
which
work
way.
on you, Dan.
So to
but
tell
yeah,
you the truth, Ryan, I saw how many days I had between last Filmhouse and this Filmhouse to see the movies I hadn't seen, and I just
okay.
there wasn't enough time to see the movies I hadn't seen.
You have a
And
baby.
I saw that Martyrs in its first round was going up against The Thing, which is my favorite
Thing.
horror movie. So I was like, ooh, maybe I'll watch
Ryan's
Martyrs eventually, but I'm not going to vote for it over The Thing. That's like
How do you know that though? You haven't seen it.
that's like the best horror
could be
movie.
your favorite.
The Thing. Like
It could be-
we
well,
barely even have to defend The Thing. It's so good.
I'm ready to vote.
I think we got
Look, I love the shit out of The Thing. You're not going to have to tell me how much The Thing is awesome because I love The Thing. The Thing's my favorite
It's
John
not The
Carpenter
Thing.
film. The Thing is
Thing.
is it is kind of weird. I get it is a horror movie, but it's even more than a horror. I think it transcends horror in my opinion.
Sounds like
got a
it's-
way better
Thing,
story.
Sounds like it's a good movie.
Better story than your average horror movie. So I understand. It's a tough call. And I hate that I even have to make the decision because I'm looking there, I'm like thinking about the first time I saw The Thing, thinking about the first time I saw Martyrs. I'm like, can I really, even though it's my pick, can I really say that I liked Martyrs more than The Thing? I may be even changing my vote at this.
There you go.
he convinced himself. Here, Ryan.
It's our Lord and Savior, JC.
Just pretend that you're nominating the American version of Martyrs, and it'll be way easier to make this vote.
I don't
But we
want-
gotta
that
vote.
sucks that
We
I-
have to vote.
Yeah.
We have to move on. We have too many
let's move
films
on.
left.
One thing though, we did not put a year next to The Thing, and this is the John Carpenter version.
Oh, I
I don't
thought
know
it was
how
the
anyone
shitty
would
new
possibly
version.
get confused by that, Dan.
Okay.
How would anyone get confused by Martyrs? There's only one good Martyrs, man. There's only one good Martyrs.
Yeah,
I had a hand, I could
you
tell
may be
you there's
right.
just
We'll
one.
never know. All right, so one finger for The Thing, two fingers for Martyrs. All right, let's vote in 3, 2, 1, go.
Whoa!
There it is.
Ryan!
All that time, Ryan. That's okay, Ryan. Don't feel bad. It's just the way Cookie
Ryan,
Crumbles.
I am gonna watch Martyrs.
I'm a martyr for
Are
Martyrs.
we gonna watch Martyrs?
yeah,
I already
please.
watched it.
No, you didn't, James. You saw the shitty version.
I looked up the wiki. It's pretty similar.
Oh, you're writing in Martyrs.
Oh wait. Oh my gosh. I almost wanted.
Wow.
I will say it's kind of sad though that we talked about how much Martyrs sucked, and it didn't even get to talk about how cool The Thing was.
I think we'll get to
maybe
it
we'll
when
get
it's-
Yeah,
there.
I mean it's coming around. It's coming around again.
Okay.
It might win the whole fucking thing.
We have to move on. We have to move on.
Yeah, I can't believe The
I-
Exorcist is out. Okay.
I can't believe I watched fucking Martyrs.
Outrageous.
All right. Anyway,
2015. You have to say the parentheses.
2015's Martyrs. All right. Next up is what I think is gonna be real tough. These are two of my nominees going
this
against
is
each
easy.
other. Insidious versus Get Out.
One of those is way better than the other.
So I
Which one is
just
it?
watched Insidious yesterday, and there was a point, even having seen it again, where I did say, "All right, I'm going to grab a pillow and hold it in front of me."
Really? So, to me, because I watched it with you, and I used to love Insidious, thought it was excellent. But after some time now, I see this movie, I see the low budget, and I see the desaturation of the color grade kind of gets me out of it. It's too much, maybe. And the only thing I really find scary is the old woman at the end. Like
Okay.
that's kind of the only thing that really I appreciate a lot of what
The
this.
screeching violins weren't scary to you?
I thought the score was real scary. I thought the design of the red-faced monster
he's
is real
good.
creepy.
But
when he's like playing, doing his little sewing or whatever, and they're like, he's watching us. And he's up against the glass.
Yeah, it does a lot of cool stuff, but I don't know. Like Get Out is also a different kind of horror movie because it's more social horror. It's commentary horror. It's
Social horror.
it gets a little like weird with the brain transplant stuff or whatever.
It's a little
So
sci-fi.
I love that part.
I think it's I actually think it's a better made movie than Insidious.
I think
sure.
I think also the thing is with Insidious, you can see where James Wan has gone since then, and he's only gotten better.
yeah.
I think
Like-
as a filmmaker.
Yes, 100%.
I don't know that he's been making things that are. I think the Conjuring's
Conjuring's much better than Insidious.
is a much better made movie, but I think I'm still more scared watching Insidious.
Oh.
But I also like when the horror represents something, which is why I was a fan of Hereditary earlier, because I think I like how that represents the passing of mental illness from one
Yeah.
parent to the child and what have you. And I think Get Out is really great because they basically took a societal thing and they said, what is the like physical manifestation of this in a terrifying horror movie? And then they made that. It's like this cult of white people who are taking the life from black people, and and so I think that's really good. I also like how it has levity, but it's not pure jokes for joke's sake. I rewatching Insidious, I forgot about the two guys who come in and basically are like big egg, small egg, and they just make cracks at each other the whole time. And I'm like, ugh, this completely changes the tone. In Get Out, it's more seamless. It does feel like the jokes are kind of like a like you're like awkward laugh kind of, which I think is what I want in a horror movie, so it doesn't break that tension. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a tough one for me.
For me, I was actually scared more in the theater during Insidious, the just jump scares, and then but Get Out I like way more overall. I think it's way, like you said, a better movie. It has something to say in a horror movie, which is rare, unfortunately.
To have a message,
nothing to say.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like get scared and whatever.
Or let's see that girl's naked breasts while she's lying on the table, and that other guy's gonna lick them. Like just nothing. Hypothetical example.
So yeah, I'm definitely going Get Out on this over Insidious, even though I like Insidious for what it is.
Okay. Dan, any thoughts here?
Not especially. I haven't ever seen Insidious.
Okay.
So hard to vote. I do think Get Out's smart, which I think is not really what most horror movies bring to the table. It's more about visceral scares, and Get Out is actually clever, and I think is saying several things. It's got social commentary, and I'm glad it brought us Jordan Peele because I think he's a very interesting filmmaker. So it's hard for me to vote too much, not knowing other than Insidious bringing us James Wan, what it brought to the table. It seems like a more straightforward jump scares, loud music,
haunted house kind of thing.
It has some great imagery.
It has really good imagery. Has some good scares and stuff. But yeah. Okay, you guys ready to vote? I feel like we're ready to vote.
Yeah.
Insidious 1, Get Out 2. All right? On 3. 1, 2, 3. There it is. Get Out.
Right.
Get Out takes
Unanimous.
it. Nice job, guys. We can figure this out.
Who put Insidious on the list?
Work together.
Who put Insidious up there and didn't vote for it?
I put Get Out as well.
Oh no!
I put Insidious and
against
Get Out,
yourself.
so I had to pick between the two.
It's one of those Silent Night human centipede situations.
I don't think that's even remotely comparable.
That's how the poem goes. Silent night, human centipede night.
All right.
All is calm.
So, all right, let's keep moving because we still got a ways to go. Luckily, this will be the last one where we have a new film that we need to talk about. So from here on out, it's just going to be review. Before we do this one, I just want to let us hear a quick word from our sponsor. This episode of Funhaus is brought to you by Mack Weldon. I cannot say enough how much I love Mack Weldon. I love them as a company, but I also love that I get to wear them because Mack Weldon is honestly better than whatever you're wearing right now, unless you're wearing Mack Weldons. That's a promise. I've talked before about how I used to wear other boxer briefs or anything, and then once I got a taste of Mack Weldon, that was it. I have fully converted. Occasionally, you'll check in with me on some of these ad reads, and I was in the process. I can tell you that I have successfully managed to convert all of my underwear to Mack Weldon's, and then I've also bought some other stuff. Socks are the next thing. I want to do socks, sweatpants, as much as I can find because Mack Weldon is a premium men's essential brand that believes in smart design and premium fabrics. Mack Weldon just makes it so easy to shop. I love going onto their website and kind of seeing what they have and all the different options and all the different colors. I know what styles I like, but they're always adding new designs and new spins on it. I'm going to tell you, I thought I was cool because I had just gotten into their silver line, which allows me, it's antimicrobial, and it basically means that if I stink, the underwear won't stink. And I was like, yeah, this is it. But more recently, they introduced the Air Knit X, and I'm fully converted to the AirKnit X. So I'm wearing some right now. I love them. I tried out one pair and I said, this is amazing. And then I immediately bought more. I really, truly love Mack Weldon. They have the most comfortable underwear, socks, shirts, undershirts, hoodies, and sweatpants that you will ever wear. I talk a lot about my favorite pair of shorts, my weekenders, as I refer to them. As soon as 5 o'clock hits on that Friday, I'm probably still working. But as soon as I stop working, I throw on a pair of my weekenders from Mack Weldon, and that's what I'm going to be in for the next 36 hours until I have to go back to work. They want you to be comfortable, so if you don't like your first pair of underwear, you can keep it, and they will still refund you, no questions asked. But also, not only does Mack Weldon's underwear, socks, and shirts look good, they perform well too. So I don't ever work out in anything other than Mack Weldon underwear. I just don't. I always had issues with bunching or things like that with Mack Weldon. It never happens. And I'm going to I'm going to stink afterwards, but the underwear isn't. So I don't have to worry about getting them in the wash right away. It's not a 911 emergency. Also, for people like me, the folks over at Mack Weldon even created their own totally free loyalty program called Weldon Blue. Level 1 gets you free shipping for life. I am level 1 at least. And once you reach level 2 by spending $200, Mack Weldon will start giving you 20% off every order for the next year. So it basically pays to buy Mack Weldon. So when I am telling you that Mack Weldon are one of the best products that we have ever recommended to you on this show or anything on Funhaus, I truly, truly mean it. This underwear is great, and I think you can take care of yourself starting at the very first layer that you put on. If you don't wear underwear, that's okay. That's your choice. But there's a ton of other super comfortable premium stuff at Mack Weldon that you might want to check out as well. Also, if you want to get 20% off your first order, you should visit mackweldon.com/filmhouse and enter promo code filmhouse. You're going to get 20% off your first order. You're going to be well on your way to the level 1 free shipping. And then depending on how much you get, you might hit that level 2. You're going to get another 20% off for the rest of the year. I love Mack Weldon. I love their underwear. I'm wearing them right now. I don't know what else to say. Thank you, Mack Weldon, for your sponsorship. This episode of Filmhouse is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped, we've talked about them before, is the absolute best brand for handling your hygiene basically anywhere on your body. I won't get into specifics, but I'm talking about your balls. And I also want to talk to you today about another place that people sometimes forget about good hygiene, and that's their nostrils. Seems weird, but I can tell you for a fact that Manscaped is here to ensure that you're taking care of your manhood and your nose hairs with their new performance package. There have been a handful of times, and you're going to be shocked to hear this, that Elise has said to me, you've got a long hair, you got a long hair coming out of your nose, like, you know, maybe you need to do something about that. And I had no idea. Okay, I appreciate her telling me, but I had no idea it was happening. And so then I go into the bathroom. I mean, sometimes I don't, but I'll go into the bathroom and I grab a pair of tweezers and I go, oh, there it is. And I pull it out and it hurts. It hurts like hell. And it's something that no one should have to go through to make sure that they look prim and proper the way a well put together person should be. Luckily for me, I don't have to worry about that anymore thanks to the Manscaped Performance Package. It's the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. This package includes the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, which is waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor powered 360 degree rotary dual blade system. I want to meet the person out there, okay, who has nose hair that say an 8,000 RPM motor couldn't handle. So then Manscaped went back to the drawing board and said, well, we want to make sure everyone can use this. I want to meet that person and I want to see their nose hair. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Look, fellas, 79% of partners polled admitted that long nose hair is a major turnoff. Did they? I wonder if they asked Elise about that. I don't know if they sent her the bundle. But luckily Manscaped is here to help us do the job that needs to be done to make sure that we're looking the best way we can be. This bundle also includes the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer, which is the best trimmer on the market for your balls, booty, and butt, basically anything you want to shave. I don't know if people have used it for their toes or if Manscaped has another product coming down the line, but you can use this thing anywhere. It also has Crop Preserver, which is deodorant, Crop Reviver, which is a toner. It has basically everything you need. Plus, there's 2 free gifts. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed travel bag so you can keep your Manscaped action on the go. Also, you're going to receive a replaceable blade every 3 months to keep your weed whacking and lawn mowing time clean and enjoyable. The performance package is the best value that Manscaped has to offer. Get 20% off plus free shipping by going to manscaped.com/filmhouse. Thank you, Manscaped, for making us look sexy. Just a quick reminder, that's 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com/filmhouse. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com/filmhouse. What are you waiting for? It's time to whack your weeds. All right, we are picking back up. We really got to pick up the pace for some of this. This is the last new movie that's going to be added to the list, but we have Nightmare on Elm Street, which beat Birds, and Saw. Ooh. Which it's interesting that Ryan he felt strongly about the torture porn aspect of Martyrs. But when I think like torture porn,
continue.
What whole thing?
Just
I don't even know what you're referring
the word.
to.
It's like a scare word. It's like what Tipper Gore would call music in her Rampage. You know,
it's movies that
Tipper
relish
Gore.
in violence. I do think they are movies that relish in violence and the fear and the emotion that violence elicits. But I think that
relish it makes it seem like, oh, those movies are just cheap, like people trying to get off on how gross it is. But no, there's more to it. It's
I think sometimes they are, though.
Sometimes
there's
they
more
are.
in that genre.
But sometimes
I don't think
it's-
any of the movies on this list.
I personally don't use the phrase torture porn. I just say I don't like torture in horror.
I was gonna say, it is quite literally torture in most of these movies that they're calling torture porn.
but
Horror movies are possibly porn by definition.
It's like a part of a plot of a story, you know, and then
Either way, they're included on this list because they are valued.
Yes.
And they have value. So I think Saw, for me, you mentioned Martyrs being what you think is the best version of that. Saw, for me, is definitely, I think, the most successful version of it.
Absolutely.
I think it set off quite this whole genre of things that are violent and scary.
I
and
love Saw.
almost, they're just big Rube Goldberg machines
That's
of violence.
yeah,
Right?
That's what I really love
So-
about the Saw whole franchise is like the puzzle aspect of it. It's almost like a game, like trying to figure out what's going on with the super complex puzzles that he's created. At least that's the part that I enjoy the most in these films.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, if people who follow along to the anthology of all the Saw movies every year, it's pretty intricate and hilarious if you put it all together, and it's a roller coaster ride. But
Hilarious.
it's definitely you are partially correct. Part of the fun of why you go see a Saw movie is what are the weird ways that they're gonna fucking murder and mangle and destroy and kill these people. Hey, I like it. It's not, teach their own. Different strokes for different folks, baby. I
agree. I also think that Saw is inherently a better film than, say, Final Destination, which maybe also fits into that category of I'm just gonna go watch it to see. I just want to see what they come up with. Like, I feel like that's part of it. But I think Saw has such memorable moments. The first film with Cary Elwes in that basement is like, there's a lot going on in that first movie that I think is very intense and very cool, and it has a great plot because you can tell a great plot when a twist happens and you're like, this all makes sense, but I can't believe I had no idea.
It is a really great
and
twist.
it has a great twist. So I think it's a really strong contender here. It is going up against Nightmare on Elm Street, which again we described as just a classic of the genre. So
Saw was filmed at this building here in LA where they used to shoot old porns.
Our office. Well, I really love both of these, especially the first Saw. I like a lot. Nightmare on Elm Street, I fucking love, and it's funny that you mentioned like the spectacle of deaths in Saw because Nightmare on Elm Street very much is that as well.
That's true.
The deaths, Tina's death in the first one, where she's pulled up to, she's being pulled all around the room. It's like awesome, and then especially when you get to like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where it's all the kids that are recovering and they're in the institution, and like their face is slammed into a TV. Like it's just like pure spectacle death. And how can Freddy mutate to be this like weirder and weirder, which I like totally love. The first Saw I hold in the highest regard because I think it unpacks the best mystery, and it's not just the spectacle of those deaths. It's like, what is the mystery here? I remember the first time I saw it, I thought once, during that movie about the body in the floor. I thought, I wonder who that is. And then I never thought about it for the rest of the movie. And the way that it does that is just so elegant and so cool. Freddy, though, I love Freddy Krueger so much, so much. And the thing I love about he's an asshole. Robert Englund was not the first choice, but thank God they went with him because
I didn't know that.
He does that character as a performance, and it's amazing. And what that movie does for a slasher, because it's also a supernatural slasher, which is really cool too, because it's a slasher that you can't really run away from, and I love that. I love this movie so much.
Okay, all right. Any other thoughts about? I mean, I think that's good campaign for both of them.
I think interesting what Elise said about kind of the parallels between the hyper complexity of the kills in both of these movies. I think is fascinating.
Yeah,
I love Freddy's backstory.
I
love the song.
Okay, so it seems like
theme song.
It seems like we got enough to go on. Are we ready to vote?
I don't know.
I think we got it. We get just for the sake of time. Unfortunately, we're always crunched by this. We got to
They're
go.
both so excellent.
All right, here we go. Nightmare on Elm Street, 1 finger. Saw, 2 fingers. Are we ready to vote on 3? 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Interesting.
Oh my God. What? I thought you and Dan were definitely going to vote for Saw.
No, Freddy's a classic. He's the only classic monster we've got on the list still. So he's who
oh my God.
Human Centipede is a classic monster.
I was so surprised by that. I thought for sure you guys were going to vote for Saw.
Well, you made a great case for Freddy, and it did beat Alfred Hitchcock last time. So, I think that's really interesting. Personally, I do love the twist of Saw, but I don't think it's as shocking as the twist of this episode of Funhaus, which is that we are going to finish this list next week.
What?
We are going to extend this 3 parts. We still have everything else to go. We still have the top 8 to go. There's no way we'd have time. So we have the top 8 to get through. We're going to finish this list next week. And that's the shocking twist. You knew the list was too huge. You didn't even think about the body on the floor, but it is here. And so, guys, I hope you will join me again next week, because this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be finishing, I promise you, finishing the list.
It's a pleasure.
The top horror film. What are you thinking? That's after Halloween. Don't care. Okay. Happy Halloween, everybody. And we will thank you to my panelists, Ryan Haley, Dan Schneider, Elise Willems. And we will be seeing you next week for the final part, or 3-part series of debating which is the best horror film. It's not Martyrs, at least that much we know.
I still have 2 movies in here still. I got Reanimator and Human Centipede. Vote for me!
It's not how it works. Who do you think's gonna win? Let us know down in the comments, now that you've seen how far we've gotten, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you very much.